All right, welcome to Namaste, Zoom Room, YouTube, and live in Ahihik. Our time together today is devoted to encouraging, supporting us in change. Someone once said that on the spiritual path, we don't gain anything from acquiring stuff. We gain things from losing, from letting go of stuff, not just physical stuff, but emotional stuff and heavy beliefs that may have helped us survive. But how many people here are into survival? Right, surviving hopefully transitions into the intention of thriving, or just knowing that arriving has already happened. And where we're going is awareness of the changeless. Identification with the changeless, the formless, the only reality. But to get there, to wake up to what already is, very often we have to go through changes. Changes, trying to face the whatever it is. So as I'm going to share my story this morning about changes I'm going through, just reflect on your own changes, how life is supporting you in dissolving. You know, Denise and Larry talked about the difference. This was on Wednesday. It was beautiful, and they talked about the difference between, as unity ministers, talks that they would give that would make people feel better, very popular talks, and talks that they gave that would support people in dissolving their false self, not as popular. You know, folks would squirm, maybe even leave. This is going to be one of those talks. So squirm and learn. So over the course of the last 6 weeks, I've had changes. And my ego's interpretation of change is loss. And as much as I would like to meditate and elevate my consciousness to the point where I don't experience loss, I'm not there yet. So I experienced it. There were about 4 or 5 radical changes, some of them induced by me consciously. Some of them came from out of nowhere. And you know how sometimes life hits you with not just 1, but 2 or 3 things that make it impossible for you to recover your sense of self. The ego experiences that as what? An anxiety attack, a panic attack, a midlife crisis, whatever you call it. The spirit in you interprets it as time to die. You all of your strategies for keeping you safe, secure, and predictable have nowhere to go. And it's nowhere to go but within, and to let that false self die. So my most recent change was this Tuesday, a friend of mine, whom I had been having a great time with singing twice a week, just out of nowhere just said that she didn't have time anymore for our singing. And it just hit me. All these changes have led up to this big, okay, I can't process this anymore. And she was my singing soulmate. We'd go out into Ahihik. She didn't mind that we didn't have a polished agenda. She just wanted to spread light and joy through singing, spontaneous singing. And she was Mexican. She didn't know a lot of words in English, and it was just enchanting to me. There was we did Besame Mucho and all kinds of jazz standards, and everything from La Bamba. So it was amazing. She had the same repertoire and certain songs that she loved as I did. So that's why I called her my singing soulmate. And then I rewrote the lyrics to "I Like to Live in America," so that she and I could sing it. And she was very theatrical. She loved to play act. So I wrote a part for her. "I like to be here in Mexico. So much to see here in Mexico. Close families here in Mexico." And I would say, "Smells like dog pee here in Mexico." And another lyric was, she would say, I'm just processing pain right now as I remember this. I can't remember it. So anyway, yesterday I was up on the third floor with Mary. We were trading healing sessions, and as I was receiving her support, a lot of tears came up as I was just acknowledging grief. How many people have a hard time acknowledging grief? Yeah. I go to all kinds of coping strategies. It's a lot easier to be angry or irritated. But grief, so vulnerable, so raw. So Mary was helping me get to the core of the grief. And I started crying rather loudly. And there was a fellow close enough to within hearing range, and he passed me by. And last night we were sitting together having dinner, and he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Are you well?" He said. I said, "I've never been better." And this fellow is kind of new here, so he didn't know that crying loudly is a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a breakthrough. It's gold. It's like what we work for 20 years in therapy, because it's the dissolving of the self. And we are so lucky to live in a community where that is not just okay, but celebrated. So it reminded me of when I was in my 20s, I was being introduced to all this channeled material, including not just A Course in Miracles, but I was not just monogamous with A Course in Miracles. I was seeing other channeled beings. But I had an agreement with Spirit that it was okay to be polyamorous with channeled beings and channeled texts. And And so I came across a book called The Starseed Transmissions. Yeah, raise your hand if you were touched by the channel. Can carry about 4 or 5 books that just amazing, changed my life. So there was a chapter in that book called Islands of the Future. Guess what? You're in one now. I'm going to read you a little bit from it. As you reorient towards the new way of being in the world, you will be drawn to centers where the vibrational atmosphere is more conducive to a healthy state of function. These centers will represent the focal points around which the organs of planetary being will form. They will be, in a sense, islands of the future in a sea of the past. Within their vibrational field, the new world will blossom and spread organically to cover the earth. These will be the first beachheads secured by the approaching forces, the points of entry through which the healing energies of transformation will be channeled. All of these centers will work together to prepare the human species for its collective awakening. Some of these centers will have a specific orientation and emphasis. Others will be more eclectic and universal. But all of those that are truly of the new will be united in the spirit of incoming life. In each of these centers, whatever the indigenous form happens to be, the presence of conscious life will provide an environment in which sincere individuals seeking to undergo the psychological process and participate in the work of awakening can make whatever adjustments need to be made, becoming firmly grounded in the ways of spirit. I'm just thinking about something Marianne Williamson said many years ago. Growth is messy. And many of us like the meditation and the chanting and all these beautiful things that raise our vibration. And that's all important. But the other part, the dissolving of who you think you are, is messy. Usually it involves tears and supporting tissue corporations. All right, so let's see what else. Okay. Enough of that. Let it go. Let's take our attention right now and put it on yourself. There is a field here. If you're tuned in on Zoom or YouTube, you're part of it. And it's a field where we can acknowledge the journey is complete. We're already home. There's nothing to do but celebrate. We don't come together in the mornings to learn, to teach. We come together to celebrate what already has occurred. So feel that. Breathe that in. Yeah, we're at a point where laughter is as sacred as tears. Hugs are as important as inner work and meditation. Preparing food with love. Cleaning the tables. Flossing. You know, for me, the unraveling has made me look very deeply at my craving for attention. It was a vow I made many years ago that I would never sing while people were talking, like, you know, at restaurants and stuff like that. Well, in processing my fear, of what might happen to me if I don't get attention, what it means about me if I'm not the center of attention. And it's been painful for me because I've awakened enough to realize this compulsion, frantic, desperate attempt to be in it, to be the center of attention, but I haven't awakened enough to let it go completely. So I've become conscious of these patterns of like being in a group and being so anxious to contribute something clever that I'm not truly listening. I'm waiting for my turn. And I miss something special. I miss taking in and receiving somebody's energy. So it's a very separating, alienating way of being. So in realizing all this, I was asked by the Veterans Legion in Chapala to come sing while people were eating lunch, starting on February 6th. 1,500 pesos a gig. I said no, because that vow, I'm not going to sing while people are eating and chatting, was still in my consciousness. But then I realized what an invitation this was. I could sing to myself. I could keep myself company. I could work another piece and unravel that desperation. And get paid for it. So I called back and said yes. And on February 6th, I'll start this gig. And this is how the universe works. When you become willing to shed the layers of false self, it provides endless opportunities for you to do it. You might perceive those opportunities as crisis, loss. It's just change. It's all a blessing. And the tears that fall while you're processing loss are the best thing that could ever happen to you. The best. Doors opening, doors closing, doors opening, doors I'm opening. I am safe, it's only change. opening doors, closing doors, opening doors. I'm opening. I am safe. It's only change. I am safe. It's only change. Doors opening, doors closing, doors opening, doors I'm opening. I am safe. It's only change. I am safe. It's only change. Change is a fact. Loss is an interpretation. It's an opinion. Just because we're married to that opinion doesn't make it real. And we signed up for being disillusioned. We want it. On a soul level, we are wanting to be disillusioned. So whether it's bankruptcy or cancer or the breakup of a relationship, deep, deep yearning for awakening is causing these things to happen. And if you can tune into your soul, the personality is very loud, but your soul gets louder the more you're willing to listen to it. And if you can tune in, it says, bring it on. Bring it on. I'll have it for breakfast. And that's the story. Nothing else going on here. And every change is leading us to more awareness of the changeless, including birth and death. Every change is a blessing. And there's going to be a change right now. I'm going to leave, go to my casita. I do something on Fridays with the Zoom room from 9:30 to 10. So Vicky is going to close us out. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, we have to unmute her.
Yeah,
All
unmute.
right.
I got it.
Got it?
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to say before you leave that spot, Brother Scott, thank you so much. Thank you for that heartfelt sharing. Thank you for singing to us all with your words, with your presence, with your love, with your vulnerability. Thank you very much. And at the same time, I want to thank Laurel for yesterday, and
Yes.
Denise and Larry for Wednesday. What beautiful, heartfelt sharing of the energies of Christ in each of you. Thank you, each one of you. What blessed opportunities for us to gather as a family and receive from one another. Thank you. But I'm going to show you all quick something. I thought of it. When this is my pink Mary blanket, and when that place comes up where we're letting go of the externals we look for to be our security. This is my pink Mary blanket. I just put it on and I sit down and I am with, just like Scott was saying, with every feeling you have. Cry, hurt, be sad. Simply be with it. Don't drag along the story, stay with the feeling. And I tell you this because one day, many years ago, one of our dear Course Miracle sisters was at a gathering we had at the Quincy house. And in the midst of the gathering, she had an apparition of Mary and a voice telling her, I am Mary, and I am wrapping you all in the pink blanket of my love. Give me the wounds, your childhood wounds you think you have. Give me your present wounds you think you have, and they will be dissolved by love and grace. So ever since then, that's all I ever do. It's really that simple. When we break down, it's the moment where we break through to the kingdom, to the real kingdom, to what reality is, the love of God. So don't be afraid of the breakdowns. Just don't try to stay with your thinking mind and write the story about them anymore. It's the feeling and the willingness to feel that breaks us through, and grace can come in and we become receptive. So just remember that. And when Scott read about the starseed transmissions, we are one of those collectives. There are collectives in time and out of time all over, that souls are being brought together to awaken this moment to our whole divinity, to awaken to one will, that we no longer will for separation, we will for the holiness of who we are in unity. We are a family that has been brought together to stabilize in our awakening. Whoever shows up on the screen is who talks, who doesn't talk, who is by our presence. We are strengthening each other to live from the inside instead of from the outside. All of us, like Scott, have special relationships where we look to outside of ourselves for our stability. Those relationships where we have become dependent on another person, on a job, on money, on health, on anything, be willing to let them all go. Because wherever we are brokenhearted, what's really happening is one of our idols, our external idols, is falling away so that the kingdom of heaven's love, God's love, can be opened in us so that we become dependent on only that. That's what awakening is, becoming dependent only on the invisible presence of God and grace that is already within us. Not only within us, is us. That's what's happening in this room every day. For those of you that are at IHEEK on Zoom, that listen to them later in the day, we are brought together. Our particular path happens to be very open, very universal. It's not one tradition or one religion or one leader. It's the love of God that's the leader. It's the love of God that has drawn us together, and that for this very day, we are awakening and stabilizing. And often what we talk about here are ways to stay stable in love. Pay attention to love wherever it's showing up. Pay attention to the angels. Talk to them, sing to them, listen to them with your heart. Pay attention to the beauty of a flower. Pay attention, most importantly, to our own feelings. Wrap yourself in this pink blanket when you need it. Wrap yourself and allow yourself to feel loved and to simply be. Transformation happens as we welcome it. We have denied it and said, no, we don't need it. I'll get along with my special relationships. I'll be fine. And finally, we're saying, no, it's not good enough. Not one of them is good enough. We are the kingdom. We are the presence of God's love. Let's open and live by that resource. That's the only resource we need. I see it's 10:30. So I will say, amen, amen, amen. E punto. Scott, take it away. And thank you again, Brother Scott. Beautiful sharing today. And I love you all, you guys. Thank you.